From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Friday, August 28th. We are off to a fantastic start to your Friday in the 60s right now. Going to be sunny, beautiful, up to the 80s. Going to keep warming up through the weekend. Going to keep having dry, nice weather. Big warm up early next week. Otherwise, though, it's beautiful. Get outside, enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend.
Your day moves fast. Your news should too. That's why there's a new and improved Wish TV app, bringing you more local news, breaking alerts, live streaming, weather forecast, radar, and Indiana sports, all in one place. Customize your news feed to see the stories that matter most to you and get the information you need when you need it. Download the new and improved Wish TV app today on iOS or Android and take News 8 with you everywhere.
Breaking news, IMPD says a man is dead after he was hit and killed in a crash on the northeast side. It happened just after 1 this morning near 38th Street and Irvington Avenue. Police say the female driver of the car initially left the scene but was followed and forced to stop by another driver who witnessed the crash. Police say the man was pronounced dead at the scene. We'll have more on this breaking story as the morning goes on wishtv.com and as we get that information. FEMA officials say thousands of people from Indiana have already applied for disaster assistance after catastrophic flooding moved through the state 2 weeks ago. Federal officials say you should send in your application sooner rather than later. News 8's government reporter Gare Perquist found out what other options are still available.
Even though federal assistance is now available, that does not mean that's the only assistance you can use. FEMA officials say more than 13,000 Hoosiers already have applied for individual disaster assistance. You have 60 days to apply, so they say don't waste any time.
Obviously, as the number of survivors grow, then there's a volume in play there. But we do try for days, not weeks. That is the goal for every survivor. Following that home inspection step.
Kaler says you should still go through your insurer whenever possible. He says FEMA won't be able to cover as much as insurance. State assistance is also still available, and nonprofits and community organizations are still involved.
There have been lots of businesses and individuals that have offered stuff free. Like Noblesville had like a pantry set up almost from day one. So you'll find, depending on where you're at, it doesn't hurt to check around to see what might be there.
State officials say they're applying for so-called disaster SNAP. Those are short-term food benefits you can receive depending on how badly the floods or windstorms affected you. You can apply even if you don't normally qualify for SNAP benefits.
FSSA will be part of the one-stop shops that we set up around the state, so anybody who's eligible for those disaster benefits can sign up either online or meet with FSSA individuals at those sites.
The governor asked for a major disaster declaration in 54 counties. The feds have approved a declaration for 21 counties so far.
There are more counties in the governor's request that we haven't fully worked through the process between FEMA and IDHS, working with the counties to gather and collect that documentation. So that is still a work in progress, and we're trying to expedite that, but nothing has been denied out of the governor's original request.
FEMA officials say if you already got approved for state assistance through the 2-on-1 system, you still need to apply separately through the federal system. At the State Emergency Operations Center, I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
If you have been impacted by the storms and flooding, you can get in-person help applying for FEMA assistance starting today. Mobile registration centers are opening in several counties. Each location's open from 8:30 to 6 p.m., except Lake County, which closes at 4:30 p.m. Homeowners and renters with uninsured damage can also apply. Officials say that you should file an insurance claim first, but you may still qualify for FEMA help if insurance does not cover all of your losses. You can go to wishtv.com right now. We have a full list of all of the counties and kind of detail out what you should and should not do. In Hamilton County, the Board of Commissioners is extending the county's local disaster declaration for another 7 days. The declaration will now be in effect through Thursday next week. However, the board is lifting the travel ban on the White River effective immediately. Leaders say they'd put the ban in place because of dangerous conditions, including flooding, contamination, debris, and changes in the river flow. Officials say the river conditions, though, have improved significantly. Carmel is stepping up to help central Indiana families impacted by the flooding. Leaders hosted a rally for relief at Lucas Estate yesterday. Community members dropped off non-perishable food, cleaning supplies, other items to help their neighbors dealing with the flood damage. Carmel's Mayor Sue Finkum says there are at least 60 people with major flood damage to their homes, preventing them from even going back. For people donating, they say it's the least they can do.
We live very close to where some of the flooding in Carmel happened. We are less than a mile from the river. We're just blessed that it did not affect us, and we want to help those that need it.
All the food donations from yesterday's event will be handed over to the Hamilton County Harvest Food Bank for distribution. Authorities in Hamilton County are also warning over a surge in mosquitoes due to the severe flooding. Health officials say mosquitoes breed in small amounts of water found in buckets, flower pots, toys, tarps, gutters, bird baths, many other places like that. Officials say the county health department's monitoring and treating flood-hit areas, but say mosquito control is a community effort. They are urging you to drain anything on your property that holds water. Do that at least once a week. You should also scrub bird baths and pet dishes regularly. And to prevent bites, you should cover up with long sleeves, wear pants when outside, and use a registered insect repellent. Officials say Indiana still faces risks from mosquitoes that carry West Nile virus. A mosquito did test positive for West Nile in Hamilton County back in July. Happening today, the Vogue Theater is hosting a benefit concert to help people living in Broad Ripple recover from the flood damage. Organizers say nationally touring bands High Rider and Disco will perform. Doors open at 7. The show starts at 8. Organizers say the money from ticket sales, select bar sales, and sponsorships will all go to the Broad Ripple Village Association, which will give the money to people impacted by the flooding. Police in Madison County have yet to confirm if a lion and cub sighting near the Madison-Hancock County line is real or not. Officials called off the search yesterday, but have still been working to find out if the report is legitimate. The Madison County Sheriff's Office says they received a report yesterday of a 300-pound lioness wearing a blue harness and a lion cub between 100 and 150 pounds on the South County Road 50 West. A report says the two were going southwest before the person lost sight of the exotic cats. We talked to people in Madison County on whether they think the big felines are really on the prowl.
We've never had some in Indiana, but it also kind of seems kind of scary because, I don't want to get chased by a lion.
It's not something you see every day in Indiana, and everybody was talking about it, and so it seemed like somebody would know who owns it.
So far, police have only located a pig using thermal imaging. Police even though they have not confirmed the sighting, people living near the area should still remain on alert. Congressman Andre Carson is providing a new report on the conditions at the Miami Correctional Facility, which is currently being used as an ICE detention facility. Carson first went to the facility in April. He went with multiple organizations, including the ACLU and Indiana Organization Project, all detailed dangerous interactions with ICE that they believe were the result of medical negligence. Carson says this week's new report focused on what people can do to support detainees and is encouraging Indiana lawmakers to speak against the facility.
The question becomes, what can we do to really convince our other officials in Indiana that we don't want our taxpayer dollars used in this way? How can we best use our voices and our vote to force change?
ICE reported 2 inmate deaths at the facility earlier this year. A recent report from ICE also says from April 1st to the 22nd, they provided more than 3,000 doses of medication, but 799 doses were missed. Officials in Nepal say more than 460 people are dead and more than 1,400 are missing after floods devastated the area this week. Dozens of Americans are among the missing. John Lawrence reports.
A prayer vigil in New York City's Jackson Heights for those affected by Wednesday's floods in Nepal. As victims get rescued, officials say more than 1,300 people are missing, including dozens of Americans.
I'm hoping they have escaped the flash flood and they are somewhere where the network is out of reach.
Shreya Ajua says her parents were ready to come home to Texas after completing their religious pilgrimage in Tibet.
They hung up with me after saying that, hey, our tour group is going to head out to the border crossing. Given that it was nighttime, I went to sleep shortly after and thought nothing of it.
Shakar Agrawal last spoke to his sister and niece about an hour before the flooding struck. He says he and his family feel helpless.
The wait is very painful, so we plan to go down to Kathmandu and maybe do some survey over there and some research, meet some people, go to some centers, do some fact-finding.
Aid is coming to Nepal from several countries, including the U.S., India, and Australia. And for now, relatives of those missing keep thinking positive thoughts.
The people on the ground are doing their best efforts, and we hope that they stay safe as they continue to do so.
I'm John Lawrence for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is responding to the President Trump's executive order to rename Lake Ontario to Lake America. On social media, Carney gave the definition of the word Ontario and its history. He went on to say, "We know that America is changing their trading relationships, their foreign policies, their national monuments, their hydronyms. Canadians also know that the naming reality means calling it Lake Ontario, then, now, and always." President Trump made the executive order yesterday. The order requires the Interior Department to update the lake's name on the U.S. Geographic Naming Service. The move comes after back and forth between the U.S. and Canada over a trade deal. Trump cannot require Canada to follow the order. Texts are hitting your inbox demanding you pay a traffic ticket or a toll violation. Kara Kenny with Indiana's I-Team explains how to spot this scam in this week's Tip of the Week.
We spend a lot of time in our cars, so getting a traffic violation seems realistic. Here's how this scam works. You get a text message about an unpaid toll or an unpaid traffic violation. It gives you a QR code to scan, but it's a bad idea to scan that. The text looks official. It might have the name of a judge and a case number. Chances are it will say you owe money for unpaid tolls, parking, or speeding violations. But when you scan the QR code, the scammers can steal your personal data or download malware onto your device. Indiana's I-Team checked with county courts and clerks, and they will not text you about anything. The Identity Theft Resource Center, a national nonprofit, just issued an alert about these texts this week.
The fact that it includes often an official-looking logo, a case number, maybe it has the official name of the traffic court, the traffic department, your police department, that all makes it very believable when you receive it and you think, oh my gosh, did I get a moving violation or a ticket? I also think that with the inclusion of a lot of the surveillance cameras, we've all heard the media coverage about the flock cameras, people are on high alert for some of these incidents that maybe they didn't know about. That I wasn't pulled over. I didn't know that something happened. And I think that is feeding into this as well.
The best thing to do is to delete it. Whatever you do, do not click any links or scan the QR code. If you're not sure this is real, the best thing to do is stop what you're doing and verify directly with the source, such as the county court. That's your Tip of the Week. I'm Kara Kenny with Indiana's I-Team.
Company leaders with Rolls-Royce are celebrating a $1 billion investment into Indiana's workforce at their production center in Indianapolis. Leaders with the company tell us the investment is one more piece of the company's growing commitment to the state. News 8's Dante Stanton reports.
This is Rolls-Royce's largest defense manufacturing site, and for the first time, media got to take a behind-the-scenes tour of the facility to get a closer look at the top projects that Rolls-Royce is working on right now in conjunction with the Armed Forces and the Department of War.
This is an aerospace state. It's technology driven. We are changing the formula for what's around here, and we're really excited about, again, what do hardworking Hoosiers do? They innovate.
Thursday marking a 10-year culmination of Rolls-Royce's $1 billion Indiana investment, including $400 million the past 5 years in test infrastructure. Warren White, Rolls-Royce's Director of Manufacturing Operations, says it's that testing which helps them stay ahead of the curve for what tomorrow's warfighter needs well into the future.
These programs are 30 to 50 years long worth of work. And I say, look, there's fifth graders around this city waking up today that will retire from here because of what we've been able to do.
Rolls-Royce offering a first-time tour of their complex assembly process. This is where 80% of the company's U.S. defense and aircraft engine workforce is housed.
So some amazing technology gets done right here in Indiana. We've reinvested in this space, made our mechanics super mechanics because the tools and equipment and the efficiency in which we do things here.
Featured projects include the Cheyenne, the Army's eventual replacement of the Black Hawk helicopter, and the development of a more fuel-efficient engine for the B-52 bomber.
The B-52 is a strategic bomber. It's part of the nuclear triad, and it's part of just a deterrent around the globe, right? So it's a piece of equipment that we hope is never used, but if it is, we have the reliability and things we need to actually make it happen. So
these ultra-high-tech test stands widen the range of conditions an engine can be tested in, meaning this F-130 engine for the new B-52s can be created more efficiently and at a lower cost.
So I can put small pressure, vibration, and temperature sensors all over this engine, run it, control it, and tell everything about it on the inside.
Rolls-Royce also programs these $40 million test stands to resist the engine. That generates power, enough to run the entire facility. When more than one is running, they can have excess power flow into battery banks.
And we're going to then store the electricity to take us off the grid more and more days of the year. There's a lot of power consumers in our world. We're a power creator. We'll be a power storer. We'll be a power conserver.
Reporting in Indianapolis for Wish TV and WishTV.com, I'm Dante Stanton.
The Colts are set to play their final preseason game against the Lions at home tomorrow, and one of the team's star receivers is closer to returning to the field. Colts said yesterday that wide receiver Alec Pierce practiced on the field for the first time since his offseason ankle surgery. Pierce says his goal is to be ready for the Week 1 matchup with the Baltimore Ravens on September 13th. Pierce is coming off the best season of his career so far, where he had more than 1,000 receiving yards. Pierce also signed a new 4-year, $114 million deal with the team in the offseason. Colts kick off against the Lions for preseason play, 1 p.m. on Saturday. Punter Rigoberto Sanchez is set to stay with the Colts at least a few more years. The team announced Sanchez has signed a new 2-year extension yesterday. Season will mark his 10th with the Colts. Last year, Sanchez had a 44.7-yard net average on his punts, second best in the NFL. Colts did not say how much the new deal is worth. Turning now to the track, the NHRA's U.S. Nationals begin next week at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park, and a driver is set to honor one of the greatest drag racers in the sport's history. Yesterday in Monument Circle, driver Jack Beckman unveiled a special paint scheme honoring John Force. Force has won an NHRA record 157 national events, including 5 wins in the U.S. Nationals here in Indianapolis. Force's career as a driver spanned 46 years, and in that time, he captured a record 16 championships in the funny car class.
My buddy Neil Ramey painted the helmet to match the car. We wanted to do something special for John, and at the end of the year, we're going to give John the helmet. I'm hoping with the championship and a bunch of race wins, but it's very seldom that the finished product looks as good as the artist's rendering, and this is one of those cases where it absolutely exceeded it.
Car is a way to remember Force's 1996 championship-winning season 30 years ago. Indianapolis native and comedian Mike Epps is bringing his hometown a 3-day celebration of music, comedy, and community, all for free. It's the 3rd annual Mike Epps Community Festival. It starts today with the Mike Epps and Friends comedy show at the Old National Center. Centerpiece of the festival is tomorrow in Washington Park. Epps says there's going to be concerts, family zone, health village, community, resource fair, and marketplace. The festival is from noon to 6 p.m. Saturday, and it's all free. This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at WishTV.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.